They thought I'd just watch quietly as they tore down the dam I built with my own hands. But when the storm came that night, they finally realized what kind of mistake they'd made. From my porch, I watched the lights in their homes flicker and vanish one by one, while the water rose and swallowed everything they thought they owned. It all started with a letter. A simple, smugly worded notice from the Lakeside Ridge HOA, claiming I owed them $1,200 in unpaid community fees. The irony: my property wasn't even part of their subdivision. My land existed before their subdivision ever did. I owned the reservoir, the hill it sat on, and the dam that held back the small lake their fancy homes circled. Their community only existed because of that lake, my lake. Still, the HOA president, Karen Billings, didn't care much for boundaries or facts. To her, everything within sight of their white vinyl fences belonged to the community. I called the number listed on the letter. "There's been a mistake," I said calmly. "You can't charge me HOA fees. I'm not part of Lakeside Ridge." She laughed, a short, nasal cackle that made my jaw tighten. "Mr. Walker, the HOA governs the entire lakeside area now. You use the same access road, your land benefits from the lake view, and your dam provides water features for the community. That makes you part of it. Pay your dues like everyone else." I hung up. For months after that, they tried to push me around. HOA inspectors parked outside my gate, taking pictures of my property. I got more letters, each one more threatening than the last. They said I owed late fees, legal costs, even water service assessments. When I ignored them, they took me to a small claims court, where the judge, after hearing both sides, laughed and dismissed the case. "This man doesn't live in your HOA," he said. "You have no authority over his land, or his dam." That should have been the end of it. But Karen wasn't the kind of person who could stand being told no. 3 weeks later, I heard machinery in the distance. It was early morning, still foggy over the water. At first, I thought it was county maintenance. But as I stepped outside, the sound grew louder: diesel engines, metal clanking, shouts echoing off the hills. I grabbed my binoculars. Down by the base of the dam, a crew of men in orange vests stood beside an excavator, ripping into the earth. I jumped into my truck and tore down the gravel road. When I got there, the sight made my stomach twist. They were demolishing the retaining wall. I waved my arms and yelled, "What the hell are you doing? Stop!" One of the workers hesitated, but Karen herself stood nearby in her white SUV, arms folded, a clipboard in hand. "Mr. Walker," she called, "you've ignored multiple notices. The HOA board voted to remove this illegal structure. It poses a safety hazard to our community. It's not illegal. That dam's on my land. You have no right to touch it." But it was too late. The excavator tore into the concrete lip, sending a loud crack echoing through the valley. I could hear the water gurgling beneath, pushing against the weakened barrier. I called the sheriff's department. By the time a deputy arrived, half the retaining wall was gone. The foreman showed him a stack of papers, phony authorization documents signed by the HOA board. The deputy said he'd need to talk to the county office before taking action. Karen smirked the whole time. "You can rebuild it after you pay your fees and get proper permits." That night, I sat alone on my porch, watching the lake. Its water level had already dropped by a few feet. Fish flopped near the shallows where the water used to be deep. The reflection of the homes across the water wavered like ghosts in a broken mirror. I thought about suing them, but what would that do? Even if I won, it wouldn't fix what they'd destroyed. Then, the weather changed. The forecast called for a significant rainfall event, 5 to 6 inches overnight. I knew what that meant. The dam had always handled the runoff perfectly, but not anymore. With the retaining wall destroyed, the embankment couldn't hold the overflow. I warned them. I sent an email to Karen, copying the county and the HOA's insurance representative. "The dam's integrity is compromised. The neighborhood downstream is at risk of flooding." She replied 2 hours later, "Stop trying to threaten us. The HOA will not tolerate intimidation tactics. Consider this your final warning before legal action." So I waited. That night, the storm came. It started slow, steady rain tapping against the roof. Then it turned into a downpour so heavy it drowned out the sound of the crickets. Thunder rolled through the valley, shaking the windows. Around midnight, I heard the first rumble from the lake, the kind that comes from water moving where it shouldn't. I stepped outside with a flashlight. The hill beneath my boots vibrated faintly. The air smelled like wet soil and ozone. Then came the sound I'll never forget, a deep, guttural crack, followed by a roar. The dam gave way. I ran to higher ground, heart pounding, flashlight beam bouncing wildly. Below, a wall of water tore through the valley, carrying mud, debris, and tree trunks with it. The flood surged down toward the neighborhood like a living thing, smashing through backyards, garages, fences. I could hear screams in the distance. Car alarms, dogs barking, people shouting for their kids. From my hilltop, I saw the water swallow the Lakeside Ridge sign first, the one with gold letters that said, "A Premier Community." Then the flood hit the cul-de-sac where Karen lived. Her porch lights flickered. Her car alarm wailed as the current ripped through her front yard. By dawn, the storm had stopped. The lake was gone, so was most of the neighborhood. I didn't feel joy, not exactly, more like a cold, hollow silence, justice served by nature itself. The county investigation came next. They interviewed me, took photos, examined the remains of the dam. When they discovered the HOA's unauthorized demolition order, everything clicked. The insurance company refused to cover damages. The HOA board members were personally liable. Karen tried to sue me for negligence. Her lawyer barely made it through the first hearing before the judge dismissed it outright. In the end, the HOA dissolved. The residents moved out, the homes condemned. What used to be Lakeside Ridge became a muddy wasteland, grass growing through cracked driveways, mailboxes tilted at odd angles. I rebuilt the dam myself. Not for them, not even for revenge, just to bring back the lake, the land, and the peace I'd earned. Sometimes, when I stand on the new dam at sunset, I think about how they laughed when I told them not to touch it. About how they thought they owned everything they could see. Now, all they own are memories, drowned beneath the water they tried to control. In me, I just let the water do what it does best. It always finds its way home.